Here's another cool song by Lukey Bear, Aiden Smith. Just thought I'd share it because I promised I would. All right, here we go. Gotta get some math done though. Aiden, your songs rock. Thank you for sharing. Okay, here we go. You ready? Let's get some math done. So I just want to do the first page of this problem. So then we are ready to roll when we come to class on Friday, and you will be prepared to do the oh wow that we're going to have you do over the break week. So instead of looking at shapes and organizing shapes, they're going to give us these nice charts that we have to use to find some percentage problems. Now, what I recommend doing first, right out of the gate, is to do your total rows and columns, because it'll save you a lot of grief when we start the percentage questions. So use your calculator and let's do a total for the number of people that were divorced in our survey. So let's add 238 plus 374 on your calculator. Go ahead and do that. And hopefully you'll get 612. So then plot your calculator. Let's do the total number of people that were married. So add those on your calculator. And if you take 274 plus 810, that's going to give you 1,057. And if you add this column, it's 1,669, which is what the total number of individuals were in the survey. But now let's go ahead and do the totals for the smokers and non-smokers, because we divided up our people into smokers and non-smokers and divorced and married. So the total number of smokers, if you add that column up, is 485. And if you add the number of non-smokers, 374 plus the 810, that's 1,184. So if you add up and down, that gives you 1,669. Or if you add across, that will also give you the 1,669. Or if you added these four numbers up, that's the number of people in our survey, that should also equal that 1,169. 1,669. All right, here we go. What percentage of the individuals in this whole survey are non-smokers? Okay, well, we're looking at the entire survey, and out of the entire survey, it looks like we have 1,184 people out of the 1,669 that are non-smokers. Now it's a percent, so we have part over total times 100. And it says round your percent to one decimal. So have your calculator handy. Looks like we have 70.9%. Now I recommend that you write your fractions every time you do a problem so that you can get some partial credit. It says, what's your reference value? So the reference value is the number that's in the denominator, and that number was the total people in the survey. The comparison value is the number that we're focusing on out of that total. So we were looking at the total non-smokers in the survey. So that is our comparison value. Okay, let's try another one. All right, this says, what percent of those divorced, so we're only looking at those people who are divorced, are smokers? So what percentage of those who are divorced? So it looks like the people that were divorced, there's 612 of them in our survey. And out of that 612, it looks like 238 are smokers. So we're only starting with 612 people because we're only looking at those who are divorced. And out of that, we've got 238 that are non-smokers. It's a percent, so part over total times 100. So if we round that to 1 decimal, that 8 says to make that 8 higher. So we have 38.9%. So the reference value is the denominator. That's the number of people that were divorced. The numerator is the comparison value, and we were looking at the 238 smokers who are divorced. So that is the total number of divorced smokers. Right? You had to be divorced and smoker to be in that 238 box. So that's what the 238 represents. All right, so you can take a pause now and try this one all by yourself and then turn the video back on and see how you did. I recommend it. I'm going to try it, but I recommend stopping the video and trying it on your own first. This says, what percent of those who smoke are divorced? Right, so we're starting off with only looking at the smokers. What percent of those who smoke? So we've got 485 smokers. So out of those 485, how many are divorced? There's that 238 again. But you see our starting value is different this time. Now we're only looking at smokers. And out of those smokers, how many are divorced? So the numerator, well, here we'll start with the denominator. So we're only looking at the smokers. And out of those smokers, how many are divorced? So part over total times 100. Have that calculator handy. Looks like a 49.1%. We round it to 1 decimal place. All right, so the denominator is our reference value, the 485. And the 485 were all of the smokers. Okay, so that's the total number of people who smoked. And then the 238, those are the people who were divorced and smoked. So that's the total number of divorced smokers, or smokers who are divorced. Okay, the last two. So you just need to identify these numbers on the chart, and then you can figure out what they're asking for. Now, the 1669, that was the total number in the survey. So we're looking at everyone in the survey. And out of those in the survey, what does the 247 mean? Do you see the 247? It looks like we're looking at people who were married and smoke. That's what that 247 represents, the married smokers. If you're in that box, you're a married person and you also smoke. Okay, so now can you identify which ones of these are talking about married smokers out of everyone in the survey? Take a look at all of your options. Do you see it's option number 2? What percent of the total are married smokers? All right, so let's try our last one. So turn to your table and see if you can find the 810 and see if you can find a number that says 1057 and then label them. And then we should be able to identify what we're looking at. So take a minute, turn off the video, and see if you can find 1057 and the 810 on your chart. So I see that 1057 are all of the married people. So that's what we're starting with. We're only looking at married people. So out of all of the married people, what's the 810? The 810 are married people who don't smoke. All right, so we're looking at the non-smoker married people. So this is the non-smokers who are married. So we're starting off with just married people, and out of the people who are married, how many of them or what percent of them are non-smokers? Can you look to see? So we can at least like cross these off, right? Because we're not looking at divorced people and we're not looking at people who smoke, right? So we're just down to these two. So which one says what percent of those who are married do not smoke? Here we go. Looks like option number 1. And then the last one is how many times larger. That's still going to come back to us. So how many times larger is a ratio where we put the large number in the numerator and the small number in the denominator? So how many times larger is the set of non-smokers compared to the smokers? So here's our non-smokers compared to our smokers. It's going to be over 2 times larger, right? That's over 2 times that number. So our big number is, it's like 1184. And the small number was the number of smokers, that's 485. We're doing okay, so pull out your calculator. Let's round it to 1 decimal. So 1184 divided by 485 looks like about 2.4 times larger, 2.44 times larger. Didn't tell us what to round it to. So how many times larger are the number of non-smokers to smokers? There's about 2.44 times more non-smokers than smokers. All right, so have these ready to hand in. I'm just going to count it as your P&L for that day, and I'll check you off and put 100 in on Friday. So bring these 2 sets of note packets, and then we will start class with this one. So we will start class with the Titanic problem. You don't have to do this ahead of time, but we'll start class with this one and then work on the section 2.2 or 2.3 that's out of the book. All right, I'll see you guys on Friday.